Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next movie in this bout of movie picks. And today we're doing Murder on the Orient Express, the original 1974 movie.
Oh my god, so first we looked at a film adaptation of Ace Combat, and now we're looking at a film adaptation of The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
If the solution of Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is the same one from this story, I wonder, but let's find out.
But yes, this walked so Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog could run, or not run, if you know what I mean.
Because he's dead.
So yeah, you may remember this is another old project of ours from way back. Now, from what I recall, this is definitely one of our better older commentaries, but enough time has passed where might as well take an updated
we
look,
never
especially
ended up
with
doing
the full
old
team.
version of Death on the Nile anyway, so might as well start from scratch.
And since there is no Willem Dafoe, Johnny Depp, or Kenneth Branagh in this one, clearly we're looking at the older one.
Yes, well, to be fair, as I also mentioned in the original, vision of this, we still have quite this all-star cast, which, it would be a bit too long to mention within the intro. But just to mention a bit for the making of, the catalyst was, believe it or not, Sean Connery. Essentially, they did the same trick that they did for movie 43. They started getting one celebrities and the other followed because they wanted to work with each other, So, and Sean
They
Connery
wanted a
was
party on a train.
Basically. And apparently, a report said that all of them had actually quite a fun time working on this.
This movie would go on to win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and get nominations for Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Cinematography, and Best Costume Design.
The best.
Yeah, well, funny story. This in terms of Sean Connery movies, this film came out after Zardoz.
God! Wait, is that
also
the movie?
Now a Disney movie?
Wait, you mean the movie that puts Sean Connery in? If we can even call that clothing?
With the tagline, "The gun is good, the penis is evil." Like that on the Kingdom Hearts world.
Oh my god.
But yeah, we're not here for that. We're here for this. So where should we start, Shirai?
Well, some of you will be skipping logos, I think. So.
Well, again, we just found a bit of difference, so I guess we should start before the Emmy logo.
Yes, because some copies do have a bit of that PAL speed up, according to Dwibs. So.
Yeah.
PAL speed up frame rate, just what we did not need.
Take us away.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
So, funnily enough, if I recall correctly, part of the reason we commented on the original 1974 film was it was either in preparation for the new murder
because the 2017 movie had been announced at that point, was in the works, it hadn't been released yet, and this is actually a movie that me and my sister grew up with, because like I mentioned multiple times, my grandparents had a lot of old VHSs from all things, so this was one that they actually, let us see.
And given that the movie came out in 2017 and our original commentary came before that, that should really put into perspective how long we've been doing this.
Me and Glibs ended up, doing a round talk of a 2017 movie, and we enjoyed it, even if it differs quite a lot more from the source material. This adaptation is almost varied. There's a couple of elements, actually, that do different from the original book, but for the most part, it's actually pretty substantial. But it's worth noting that this adaptation actually was seen on the big screen by Agatha Christie herself, and she actually approved it. It was actually a bit before she actually passed away, so this was similar to what Bob Kane, did with Batman and Robin, or even in this case, she actually had a good time.
We should mention, I know we mentioned Sean Connery a lot, but he's not actually the one playing Poirot in this film.
Surprising. No, he's actually one of the many people. This is one of the reasons why this is one of the most famous stories of Agatha Christie, is because, again, it involves a large cast of characters, each of them with quirky personalities, so it leaves a lot for different type of, actor that can play them, and Sean Connery is one of them, but the only other actor that I remember by name is actually the late Ingrid Bergman, almost all of the people who worked on this movie are dead by this point.
There's Michael York. He's great.
There's the actor who played Norman Bates in Psycho. So
Anthony
that's fun.
Perkins.
Anthony Perkins, yeah.
Yeah.
There's Richard Widmark. Coolio.
Albert Finney playing Poirot.
Mm-hmm.
Albert Finney.
Oh, and Jacqueline Bisset. I think I recognise that name, actually. She was in the 1960s Casino Royale.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised to find out that this film was not a series of Poirot films.
Again, at the time, they did not really have the idea of a set of serialized movie with a following cast. But we started the movie with something that will set things up. And something relatively disturbing, actually. They want to emphasize it also with the type of music.
Now, if I recall correctly,
A kidnapping. Like, this is a fun ride, but at its core, it's still a murder mystery with a lot of sad and shocking undertones, and yeah.
So...
in my country is
Well, kidnapping a baby is always a great start, you know?
In my country is dubbed, but this actual part is actually followed by narration because obviously the text will not be translated. So it gives actually a bit of a better idea of what actually did happen instead of as if it was talked by a news broadcast, as in relaying information. So it gives also it explains a bit more of what the newspaper are saying.
Now, if I recall correctly, while this adaptation apparently takes some liberties, I believe that, you know, the final twist is straight from the book.
Yes. Well, no, like I said, the adaptation actually is almost one-to-one. It only changes a few minor things that I will actually point out as we go on. But
okay, without spoiling, how drastic are the changes in the 2017
the
version?
nationality of one of the character and the role that the victim had in the past. But that's it. And arguably Poirot's general personality towards the end.
Interesting.
And they had witnesses, actually. So the maid who actually was entertaining herself with a cop.
They even made a gazette for the police.
This is important because also, again, apparently this was not necessarily just a small kind of house in the middle of nowhere. This was a rich villa of an important family, which had all sorts of servants, including like a chauffeur, for example. And a lot of them were actually witness of this.
Yeah, this film came out in 1974, 2 years before Agatha Christie died.
I still, continue to stand on what I said in the Willy Wonka commentary, that overall, the 70s did add just a couple of gems, but overall were just probably one of the more dull decades when it comes to films. So thank God we had movies like this that actually set up a bit more the tone.
The two Godfather movies as well, I guess.
But yeah, the family was of this guy, a pilot called Armstrong.
And his
wife. Served also in the war for the UK. With also an understandably disturbed wife. They actually do pay the ransom of the kidnapper, but the child was found dead. Great way to start.
Child murder!
5 years later.
Well, I guess I was
inside of Istanbul.
She also had, while she had also strong, convictions and ideals, she also did everything with a purpose. I did actually read a couple of books, not just Poirot, but also the other major character she created, Miss Marple, and
because
all of her stories are basically with that kind of theming.
Because most of Turkey is in Western Asia, but there's a bit of it that's in Southeast Europe.
Yes, and as such, they do have a border that you have to pass through.
So, of course, this movie about a train begins on a boat.
Starts on a boat. Hilarious.
Okay, now, when we saw this movie the first time around, I remember not really particularly liking Albert Finney as Poirot that much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I
You
recall
mentioned that,
correctly,
I remember.
Poirot's main gimmick is that he's Belgian, but people constantly mistake him for French.
And normally has an accent. For some reason, this is actually a thing that's normally kept in all other adaptations, but Poirot is supposed to have a French accent despite being Belgian. But for some reason, for the Italian Double B's movie, he did not do that.
So what you're saying too is, I'm not French, I'm Belgian.
Yep. They actually made a gag of that doing the parody movie that involves a Poirot caricature. I forgot what it's called.
And it was directed by Sidney Lumet, who apparently this is one of his more out there movies, because normally he makes serious, gritty crime dramas in New York, and well, this isn't New York.
But yeah, the books actually were slightly serialized, but he had some continuity between them. And in fact, this actually picks up from a previous case where Poirot was actually solving in Istanbul. The 2017 movie bothers to show even that for the sake of giving, a better establishing of the, showcases, the character and, have a more eased up intro.
Basically, Hercule was what Sherlock Holmes was. Okay.
And there is a Sean Connery.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. Hercule to Agatha Christie was what Sherlock Holmes was to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He was the protagonist for Agatha Christie, to the point where she apparently got annoyed at his popularity and killed him off because she wanted to do away with him, but then brought him back. Well, okay, apparently the main reason she killed him off was that she wanted nobody to treat him with disrespect as perceived by herself. Although, again, it seems that the move was undone. Again, similar to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle when he tried to kill off Holmes with that battle with Moriarty, only to then write him back because, well, Holmes was helping pay the bills.
What kind of insult is that?
From a British Shiroi, Abernaut is supposed to be a military for the UK, the British Empire.
I'm guessing
and
it's more.
Clear later.
I'm guessing, Shiroi, that's more of an English insult than a Welsh one.
Probably, especially for the military, because frog is usually the derogatory term to describe a French from British.
What insult?
Frog.
Of course.
Frog.
Again, it wouldn't be the British and French without them trading insults.
In fact, in the Italian dub, he just straight up says he has to be French.
Omelette du fromage. Omelette du fromage. Omelette du fromage.
Oh, yeah.
The budget of this was the equivalent of $1.4 million and recouping 35.7. Like I said, because of what I said, the 70s were a decade when not many people went to the cinema still.
I'm curious on if they actually traveled to shoot these on location or if these are just big
sets. They actually
sets.
did use the actual Orient Express for filming, yes. I don't know if these particular scenes were done somewhere else or actually in Istanbul.
I mainly asked because you said it was the equivalent of $1.4 million present day, correct?
Yeah.
Which
Not
is
really
pretty
much,
cheap.
even for the time.
So, like, I guess I would
keep in mind that with the same kind of budget, with the Willy Wonka movie, did manage to get a lot of stuff done.
True.
And this is our first major change. Poirot's friend and the proprietary of the Orient Express, in the original book, he was basically another Belgian called Book. And for some reason, they changed it to an Italian and called him Bianchi. I appreciate it, especially because we don't really do that much stereotype, but it feels random more than anything. And as worth noting, all of these characters were supposed to be of different nationalities. Almost all of them are portrayed by British actors. Only a couple of them are actually, from their original countries.
I'd say that this is their way of trying to say that, hey, look, France and Italy can get along. If, Poirot were actually French, but who knows? Maybe somebody made the same mistake that a lot of characters in story tend
They
to.
could at least use their inside voices.
I was just gonna say part of the reason it wasn't that big on Phineas Poirot is because he yells like most of his lines.
But here's the thing: Poirot is supposed to use the Orient Express, but apparently all the cabins are occupied.
So is murder off the Orient Express then?
In case you actually don't know, the Orient Express was actually one of the most famous train lines of this particular age. Not of the entire world. The Trans-Siberian Russian line was still probably the most famous at the time, as told in Mikhail Strogoff. But in this, actually, it's a line that traverses from Istanbul to, I think, France at the very least. It basically crosses the entirety of the Balkans, reaches Venice, and then puts a bit north, I think. So as you can imagine, it was used to travel for a lot of people to travel. It was a bit of a luxury, but it was, convenient if you wanted to have a fare.
Oh, now we're going on the Orient Express. We went on that boat because
You need to get there to the station. Mm-hmm. Calais? Yeah, very good. It stops in France, and from the airport, you're supposed to take something for London. Also, those dogs. I don't even know what species are they supposed to be.
I sure would hope this is a
And hey, this
well-maintained...
guy, responsible for checking that the train is alright, is Vincent Cassel's father.
Huh.
Daddy Cassell, I take it. Yeah, for a second there, I thought it was Bruce Willis.
No, okay. The actor name is Jean-Pierre Cassel.
Ah, okay.
Hey, I'm walking here.
Oh, bother.
Oranges. And okay, that guy on the left looks like a cross between Johnny Depp and Val Kilmer.
Huh, maybe that's why they got Johnny Depp in the remake.
Well, that's not for his role equivalent. These are two members of Eastern European aristocracy.
That is an interesting hat, miss.
I know, just...
This conductor looks like an older Martin Short.
She's like she glued the big whiskers of a cat on the back of that hat.
Ham.
Delicious.
Tia, it's funny that you mentioned that the 2017 version made a few changes to the novel, and yet apparently one of his criticisms was not adding anything new.
And here is Lauren Bacall, which a true dame of her time, playing another more major character. So we will see her in action soon enough. Number 9 as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Duh? Here's instead Ingrid Bergman, one of the few actors who actually correspond to the nationality of her character, because that character is supposed to be Swedish. Her character is a bit of a stereotype, but more on that when the spotlight goes to her.
Huh. Poirot on the way to solve a case. Sure would be a shame if he had another case on the way.
On the matter, yes.
That's not a devious name at all.
Ratchet is played by Richard Widmark, who immediately accepted the role as soon as they actually called him. So he actually was eager to join these.
Is this one of those cases like with Island of Dr. Moreau where everyone was excited to work with Sean Connery? Except,
not
actually
necessarily
good.
him, but it was, like I said, it kind of was in movie 43, a chain of events, only that in this case it worked for the better, thankfully.
Yeah, that's good. Oof. Well, it's good to see that the food is well maintained on this train.
And actually, being checked. Remember, the timeline in terms of when this movie takes place is in 1935, between World War One and Two. So there's still a bit of tension in the air, and so people are never too careful of what happened, especially after what happened in Turkey. Yeah, close the door next time.
Ladies
You
and
could
gentlemen,
close it. Oh.
yeah, that. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, there will not be any food on the there will not be any food on this trip because I had to test all the food. But you ate all the food, yes, and I can confirm that the tests were successful. They taste great. You're not getting any though. Bye. Hey, just barging in like that. What?
Yeah.
Can you speak up? The train is loud.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a bit of a weird
I know you're
color.
pretty loud already, but you have to be a bit louder.
And now, similar to what Star Trek the motion picture will do, we get a very extensive shot of the camera panning over to the train until it actually starts. Again, the train is supposed to be a sort of a character in its own right for this movie, but like I said, the parallels to Star Trek the motion pictures are a bit poignant here.
Wasn't it a futuristic train in the 2017 version?
No. The movie in that is set also between World War One and World War Two.
How
so
weird.
They each have that.
The way the marketing poster looked, it looked like a futuristic train. Maybe that was just the shading of it that made it look all sleek.
Also, as for importance, the train does get title billing, so
True.
Yeah, that train's gonna get shown off no matter what.
That train's gonna be a star.
I mean, it didn't take.
Yeah, thanks for that.
It didn't take as long as the motion picture, at least. So.
All right, we also get basically a leitmotif that goes on through the entire movie, so it's a good time to mention actually the score. The score was by Richard Rodney Bennett. I don't remember much of his name.
Richard Rodney Bennett. He lived from 1936 until 2012, and
he did some Doctor Who's music.
Let me see. Selected TV and filmography.
What happy music.
They really want you to look at this train.
Yeah, they will do it multiple times. We get some Lord of the Rings style shot of the train just going. This is basically also a giant commercial for the service.
I wonder.
He did the yeah. So I'm just trying to work out. There we go.
Murder is a wonderful advertisement.
There we are. He did the music for one Doctor Who story called The Aztecs.
I don't remember that one.
Come on, the Orient Express,
It was from,
where you can in fact be murdered.
I mean, it was from 1964, so yeah.
Ah, this happy-go-lucky music, the serene calm, the wind in my hair.
But there's no wind in here.
I mean, as a child, I absolutely loved this because ever since I was a kid, the train has always been my favorite method of transportation.
Oh yeah, I do like me some badass trains, and thankfully over here in America, we're still keeping a lot of our steam locomotives in service, so yeah, we have that nice stuff from the good old Western times left.
Norman Bates is working for Ratchet as basically his accountant, and he's working even, at every single time moment.
Yeah, I've only ever seen Anthony Perkins in this and the first Psycho.
Okay.
Well, someone's getting murdered tonight. Look at the train's backside.
There's your arse shot of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vendors is basically your stereotypical British butler, but if I recall correctly, only his name is slightly different from the one in the book, but otherwise the personality is the same.
A funny story, one of Agatha Christie's only issues with this film was Poirot's mustache.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't, again, she had basically a general idea of one important key character is how the mustache is supposed to be, and apparently it wasn't particularly up to snuff for her standards.
So what is Poirot's mustache supposed to look like?
If you've seen the David Suchet series, it's mostly that.
So the
It's hard to
2017
describe
one?
in words, Jova.
The 2017 film, right?
No, that's Kenneth Branagh. The David Suchet series started in the 80s and ended up in the early 2000s, I think.
It ran from okay, let me check. Poirot, if I can spell Poirot right, Poirot ITV. Yeah. It ran from 1989 till 2013.
Miss Hubbard loves to talk.
Yeah, piss off.
That was the nicest fuck off I think anyone has ever.
Basically.
Be gone,
this is how David.
Poirot is a gentleman of class.
Yeah. That's how David Suchet looks.
I so do hope that you can treat me and the posh dog, which I value even more than your insignificant lives, well.
Well, their character is not even supposed to be British, but Russian. Although if I recall correctly, the actress was not actually that old, the equivalent of all the Soviet types of makeup.
I swear that green
Albert
liquid
Finney wasn't even that old.
Might be absentia, Shiroi. The color is green.
That green liquid looks like medicine. Yuck.
You'll be surprised.
If it's what Tio said, how did he drink it so calmly?
Some people are more used to it, I guess. Absentia is very powerful, Jova.
Like, scorch the back of your throat powerful?
No, more like you'll start tripping balls very soon.
Like, I just smelt it and was like, nope.
Albert Finney wasn't even that old at this point. Poirot's meant to be like mid-50s, early 60s. Finney wasn't even 40 yet. He was like 38 at this point.
But yeah, Ratchet is accosted Poirot for a very specific reason, actually.
Apparently to date, Albert Finney is the only actor who's gotten a nomination for Best Actor while starring as Poirot.
Poirot?
Yes. Is Ratchet supposed to be the American?
Yep.
Gee, I couldn't
Oh,
tell.
just let the movie going, Jova. Don't worry.
Okay, not being Belgian, I can't rate his accent.
Hello, it keeps fucking up his name.
I love
Okay.
how they write it out as he says it in the subtitles too.
Oh,
Okay, you don't have to do it like that. Ching,
Yeah.
ching, ching.
yeah. Either $5,000 or I fucking shoot you.
Ooh.
You're boring.
Yeah. Again, Poirot is a man of class, but if he has to tell you to fuck off, he will do it.
From what I understand, he is definitely a man with a bit of an ego, too.
Very narcissistic, yes.
What?
Yeah, I don't fucking know either. We did the same shit when in Spider-Man 3 with James Franco, well, in this case it's more plausible.
He was too
Yeah.
embarrassed to use the tunnel to just get out.
It's like, I guess Ratchet decided, well, screw this, I'm gonna one-up you by making you look like a fool by disappearing on you. Okay. Some people are so artistically petty.
Oh, they really are.
But yeah, the actress who played the Princess Dragomir, so Wendy Hiller, by the time this movie was made, was in her 60s. So she wasn't really as old as their character.
You know, every time you tell somebody not to concern themselves, something happens that renders their concern justified. Just a thought.
But yeah, at the very least, Poirot has a cabin all by himself, and, you know, Norman Bates can also stay on his own.
How nice.
But I also can understand what Bianchi was actually saying about sleeping while sitting there. One of the things that I did between 2015 and 2016 was actually a job that involved me having to wake up very early and actually have to take a train around 6 or 7 a.m. You know, and you usually stand for 1 hour, so I was used to sleep for the entire duration.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who wakes up at every stop.
I
It
swear.
wouldn't have lasted that much here because one unfortunate thing of the northern part of my country is that the train stations tend to stop at every single minuscule round of a village that is possible there.
Ah, yes, we have our trains like that too. No one gets off there.
Of course.
Or on.
Although knowing somebody's luck, the minute that they stop coming to that stop is when somebody's gonna need it.
So yeah, Ratchet needs some Valerian to sleep. Very standard soporific. It's not really that powerful. If anything, it gives more of a placebo effect than anything.
You might be better off with some tea.
Or coffee. Oh, no, not coffee.
That
paid
seems
enough
like
for
a
shit.
butler who's done with his
He
job.
has also his own reason to have a bit of stress, so he will mention later.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Sidney Lumet This wasn't his first movie. It was like his.
Oh, Sidney Lumet, the director of the Wiz film.
Yeah. This is his 11th movie that he directed. He started directing in 1957 with 12 Angry Men, and he would keep directing films until 2007.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Yeah.
Did he die after that film?
He died in 2011.
Huh, so I guess he had retired at that point.
Oh, yeah, I mean, working in the film industry in general, not just directing since 1930. Only leaving in 2007.
There you go, the couple.
What is that, like the equivalent of a sleeping apparatus?
That's basically serves to keep his mustache, in position like that.
Oh
Yes.
my god, he literally is so dedicated to his mustache.
Yeah. Like I said, it's part of a character of having that kind of narcissism that Sherlock Holmes also
yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the trains at this point were fueled by coal. I just wanted to show you that bit because
It's cool, shut up.
it's coal.
God damn it.
How long have you been sitting on that one, Libs?
Wow, the puns are killing him.
I just came up with it.
But yeah, during the
Don't you mean killing them, Shiwi?
During the night, the cabins operate on having an emergency light if you don't want to have the main one, which is
These are good puns.
blue tinted.
Again, kiln. I'm funny.
Also, he has a python jacket for sleeping. Because you don't know, we will actually mention later, but it's not really spoilery. Cauchemar in French means nightmare, so...
As for that pun, I just came up with it on the fly.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'm sure it's fine.
But plot twist is actually Poirot that's murdered. He just holds it beyond the grave.
Unfortunately, the train is a bit of an impasse, as it was custom at the time. If by chance there was an obstacle on the way, like in case no, there's nothing you can do about it. So just sit in your ass and hoping someone fixes that.
Honestly, the UK is still kind of like that.
Dang.
Yeah,
The 2017 movie tries to make it a bit more divine intervention by having a bolt of lightning smiting a mountain and an avalanche strikes the train.
I remember actually, I went to Manchester and then but I couldn't get back home because there was that great big storm that was happening. So I was stuck there for a day. Hence why we did that film commentary from a hotel room that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
I
yes.
just want to fucking sleep.
Yeah, Poirot cannot fucking break. Okay, can we go now?
Clearly, this is.
Okay, what's French for fuck?
I don't know.
I'll check Google Translate.
Like I said, my French tends to be rusty.
I know shit, merde.
Merde, yeah,
but,
fair enough.
I actually don't know fuck.
I haven't spoken French since school.
Merde.
Well, what's that again, Dubs?
Merde.
No, that's shit.
I typed in fuck and I got merde.
I guess we don't really have a proper equivalent.
I guess I don't. I guess I don't have. They don't have a fuck equivalent.
Let me check.
I guess fuck is universal.
Well, actually, my language has a natural direct translation of the word fuck, so it does exist in other languages.
Come on, sir. You gonna open the door, please? I've been up all night making this lemonade and red chili sauce.
Well, they said pick me up, which usually means alcohol.
Okay, so apparently the French version is baiser.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we learnt that today.
Maybe the Belgians pronounce it differently. I don't know.
Yeah. Might as well. Well, shit.
Huh. Well, look at that. He did die after all.
Thankfully, there is actually a doctor on board in the Pullman cargo, a Greek doctor. Dr.
There's always one
Constantine.
on board.
So
To make
it's
his
time to
convenience at
improvise
least.
a bit.
I wonder, has anyone tried to do a more modern day adaptation of these kinds of movies where Murder on the Orient Express is more like, I don't know, the murder on the
Dweebs, one of the Matt's Me Doctor Who episodes.
Mummy on the Orient. Well, that was a Peter Capaldi one.
Oh, whatever. I forgot the specific doctor, but yes, they actually did one of that.
How was the one with Alfred Molina?
Molina, I haven't seen it yet. Dr. Wiley?
What
Yeah.
she said.
German.
The subtitles didn't bother with that one.
It was actually one of those moments of, oh, she speaks foreign, it's funny. Yeah, it's not even pretty.
So drugged and stabbed.
Multiple times.
Looks like he coughed up some blood too.
Oh, let's see.
Get out.
Yeah, without leaving prints.
God, you're all useless.
Well, that didn't take long.
I didn't know. Well, it probably helps when your friend owns the freaking rail line.
Bianchi is played by Martin Balsam. Oh, yeah, not exactly properly Italian.
I wonder, was this movie like anyone's big break?
Not really. It was more of a it was kind of like Lord of the Rings in a sense, but it was also for all the people who had some, already some careers in progress to just have fun. Yeah, Ingrid Bergman's character is that she's very religious. Again, we'll get to her soon enough, but you'll see, Jova.
Also, there's old Cruella de
Hello?
Vil right there.
Huh.
Wow.
All right.
Damn.
Everyone's very savage on this train.
So let's start with good old Norman Bates, who definitely would have a good motive to kill his very ungrateful boss. So to
Again,
speak.
Poirot will just interrogate one at a time.
So that's essentially this movie, essentially. Interviews with the witnesses or potential suspects to find out who done it. Now, on paper, this would sound like a very mundane bout of mystery, you know. We're confined essentially to a bottle episode when you think about it, confined to a train. Man, who knew the baby food industry could be so cutthroat?
Have you seen Buzz?
I mean, I guess they're on point.
Well, they sure gave him the point at least 12 times. You're a very jittery witness, you know that? That wasn't
Poirot
just
has a trick that he wants to use.
Tell me, do you like carrots?
No, we're not doing that.
Do you like chili dogs?
Yeah, the other important thing is that some of the stabbings are also inconsistent.
I know, for a little bit of this, for a brief second there, he sounded like Tom Baker. I mean, since they're both from up the north of England,
And to use that. Yeah.
Albert Finney was from Salford and Tom Baker was from Liverpool. Oh, it's from Liverpool, I should say.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess Poirot got his wish to have an interesting case after all. Remind me, was the sequel book to this, you know, did that turn out to be the case he was on his way to solve?
I don't remember, but I think so.
Huh, cute. So when you get down
Also,
The 2017 version instead redirects him to Death on the Nile, but yeah, sure.
he is stuck on a train. It's not like he's got anything better to do.
Basically.
That being said, how ironic is it that what is quite possibly Agatha Christie's most famous story would have originally have been a story that was more kind of just like, a side story or a diversion to what she was really building up to.
It helps elevate a bit. I think it's the idea is that it helps elevate the mundane. Something that appears normally just a thing in the middle that turns out to be very important, especially for what we're about to learn through this trick.
So when you get down to it, this was originally one of her filler episode books, but nowadays it's quite possibly
No,
the
I
most
think it was
famous one.
intentional to make it appear in story to be, a filler. There we go.
The sea arms.
Someone doesn't know how to spell ASMR.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now things are about to get more interesting.
The one we actually saw at the beginning.
The Armstrong case was so big that
what's gonna be the reveal of the murderer.
Turns out the Armstrong case was so big that the whole world pretty much knew about it. And mind you, this is a time before the internet, so yeah.
Yeah, scandals like that were,
Huh. I guess that's probably one reason that we haven't gotten a Murder on the Orient Express done in modern times, since,
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, all it would take
Okay,
is just somebody
this
looking
is,
on Twitter, probably.
Yeah.
Murder on the Orient Express, Twitter did it.
Yep. Ratchet was not even properly American, Jova.
I see.
But yeah, this is actually another slight thing change from the book. In the book, Cassetti pulled essentially a Freddy Krueger and got arrested, but got out via technicality and flee the American country for that. And unfortunately, the murder of Daisy had this ramification where almost everyone in the family died.
I should talk a little louder, please, mate.
The police never found him, apparently.
So ironically, it looks like we got him.
But that begs
Kinda.
the question then, again, did the murderer knew about him? Was it a proper hit? That's what we need to find out.
And here's the problem. We have a bit of a time limit, because the workers are working to move the snow in front of the train. Once the train starts moving, well, that's when stuff can get out of array, essentially.
Might as well.
So here's what we know so far. Turns out our supposed American was actually the committer of a heinous act involving the case we saw at the start. Which would mean we're looking for somebody who would have good motive connected to that. Problem is...
Remember what his cover that he said to Poirot, baby food. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Like, that was one thing I noticed now on this Generations commentary. That was some dark foreshadowing.
Fortunately, Pierre also has a bit of a tragic backstory of his own.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, the direct relatives to the child are also dead.
Yes. So the only people who are left alive who knew information might be the police or the servitude that work for them. Mm-hmm. The maid is the one who spoke in German before. We'll talk to her also later.
He's doing that stuttering thing he also did in Psycho.
Yeah. It's also part of his character, he's about to actually say.
He said that with a serene smile on his face. Oh, really?
And as we know from this character, Bubber knows best.
Okay, are they legit just making Psycho references?
Might be a sort of a side mythology gag or anything, but the story legit is like that.
Psycho came out 14 years before this.
So it's possible.
I think
Yeah,
it was
1960.
I think it was before they turned it into a franchise, because for some reason they did.
Yep.
What's the lesser of the two evils? That or the 1998 remake?
That's a good question.
It's been a long time since they watched any of those.
Is the 1998 remake truly bad?
Again, I don't remember.
It's like the most literal shot-for-shot remake you can get.
I have not seen the sequels to Psycho either, so I legit can't judge which is better or worse. Pedro?
Yes.
Have
Do
you
you have
seen
know
them?
anything about the matter?
The Psycho sequels.
Or the remake?
I'm okay. The remake I haven't seen. I don't know that. The sequels, I think I might have seen them at some point, but it's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps a future project. Huh.
That's a point for later.
That was a backhanded compliment if ever I've heard one.
Nice time for the butler.
Don't tell me, the butler did it. You know, where did the butler doing it get popularized from?
I don't know.
Cluedo, maybe?
Potentially. Well, I can imagine it might be some other murder mystery stories.
But
the
Dwibs,
early
I was under the
1900s,
implication that Clue had multiple endings.
I'm pretty sure Cluedo does as well.
Aren't they the same thing?
Yeah, for some reason, some countries axe the DO at the end.
Yeah. It is contractually obligated that our butlers be British. Or just so posh that they sound British.
Well, Jover, there was a butler in the 2016 Hitman game that had the voice of Yuri Lowenthal.
Did he put on a British accent?
It's mid-Atlantic at best, I think.
Okay, so like I said, either British or posh trying to sound British, because that do be how the butler be.
Ha ha ha, funny.
Ooh,
And
zing.
what does he read?
Wow.
How very direct.
And that was so. That's where "How Is Your Sex Life" got that from.
Goodness
The OG.
gracious. How
Very
wonderful.
A film that came out 29 years before this. Damn.
Unfortunately, the reason why Mr. Bedos also was stressed is because he has been having toothache.
Yes, clearly Tommy Wiseau is the Agatha Christie of his
Absolutely.
time.
Of course.
So then, who's his Hercule Poirot?
But yeah,
Poirot.
the important thing also is that Bedos
Poirot.
actually served in the British military.
I guess the main character of that. I don't know.
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny.
Even though he dies. in the-
I usually just call him Tommy Wiseau because.
Bedos, the butler Bedos is played by John Gielgud. Great little Shakespearean actor.
He said the line.
He didn't even wait for it to get out of the room. And yeah, that's the snowplower. So as Jova said, very, very tight on time.
You know, you would think the actual train would come with, like, a snowplow on one of the cars or whatnot in case of something like this, but, I don't run the railroad. The irony. When the snow... You know, there's something ironic when the service being good at plowing snow is an inconvenience. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Well, if you stop shouting, I can tell you. Yeah. The only other Poirot I could compare this performance to is Kenneth Branagh. I haven't really seen the David Suchet series yet.
You haven't seen even the Peter Ustinov Devil and Owl movie?
I don't think I have, no. I think the David Suchet series at this point is on either ITVX or BritBox, so...
What the fuck is content of that purse?
It's a woman's handbag, Tio. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, those things have like pockets, the pockets within pockets. I don't understand how the hell those things work.
Yeah, it's the only place women's items actually have pockets in.
So basically, Shira, you're saying that your handbag consists of suspicious items.
No.
I plead the fifth.
But Siri, we're in Britain. The fifth doesn't exist around here.
No, you.
We're funny.
Hilarious.
How nice.
But I wasn't done yet.
Okay, now it's time for Ingrid Bergman's character.
Okay, the only one playing her, one of the few playing her nationality.
Oh, from what I understand from the making of, it was more of a casual thing that just happened. Ingrid Bergman originally, potentially wanted a different role, but even when she said that, her role as this character was actually more minimal, she still was okay with it. She was actually a good sport.
Well, she won an Oscar.
Although, like I said, it's a bit of a stereotype because it's a character with a disability that's convinced to be religious of that because of that. So, judge it for what you want. I don't think it's that too much of a problem overall.
I was looking up Sean Connery's character. Okay, it says the character is British, so there's that. Although I'm not sure, it doesn't specify what part of Britain he's from. So if
I can tell you that he still has his Scottish accent, it doesn't really change it much.
Yes, I was going to say if Colonel Arbuthnot is Scottish, then it doesn't say anywhere on the Agatha Christie wiki.
I don't remember if it's mentioned in one line or not, admittedly.
Plot twist was actually his first line. I'm Scottish. Sorry, I have to say that every time I introduce myself to somebody.
Except the Islander.
Yeah, I'm not Spanish, I'm Egyptian. Does it have to do with anything?
Interesting. Feels like everyone's got something that contradicts each other.
Okay, you know what I'd fancy actually?
What?
An Ace Attorney game that does something like this. Like take a fate. Okay, I know Great Ace Attorney was a step in that direction, but like just have Phoenix Wright be in like different.
Yeah, I did ask in a previous
book
project if there
adaptations.
was a case similar to this where the characters were like stuck in a plane or something. But from what I heard, Greatest Attorney is the closest that happens with a boat that doesn't even have a trial.
Actually, there has been stuff done on a train or on
You
a
mentioned also
plane.
investigation as something on a plane.
Yep, investigations as a case on a plane. There was one of those escape room same things done with an Ace Attorney theming, which did one for a train. I think also the anime had a case take place on the train too, if I recall correctly.
And I've like public domain books. I just have like put Phoenix in the place of the main character or something. Mind things that are mostly just investigation.
Now
That
it's
would
time for
be
the young couple.
that would be more for either Edgeworth or Professor Layton.
Next up, it will be Princess Dragomiro, but Poirot will actually go to her cabin. The Count is played by Michael York, actually. If you don't know, he played D'Artagnan in the 70s, The Three Musketeers. Also, another Shakespearean actor, he was in the Zeffirelli's version of Romeo and Juliet.
He was also in Land Before Time, The Stone of Cold Fire. He played the antagonist in that.
Why?
I guess he was probably one of the better characters in that movie.
The Countess Helena instead is played by Jacqueline Bisset.
Revenge of the Fallen, Jesus.
Hilarious.
I believe he was also in the Austin Powers trilogy.
Yeah.
That was
Jacqueline
good.
Bisset is still alive. She's an actress from the 40s.
Long name.
European family names are fun.
Has there been a Christie story that took place in Italy?
Couple.
Crime allows for weird questions to be asked.
That's the official excuse. It's not perversion, it's a crime mystery.
It's for research.
Okay, mate, if we're trying to beat Poirot's mustache, that's not working.
Isn't that funny?
It's actually a barbiturate. It's in universe at the time it was the story takes place. They were still considered not properly drugs.
They're just being fur, dude. Calm down.
He's very hot-tempered.
Right. As for Albert Finney's other roles, I know him mainly for what turned out to be his last one, Skyfall, when he played the house caretaker.
Princess Dragomirov is of Russian aristocracy who obviously fled the country after the Soviet rise.
She looks dead.
She even has a photo of Emperor Romanov.
You mean like the Russian Revolution?
Yes. Of the 1910s.
Yeah, well, they just basically.
Oh, sorry. I mean
killed...
the time Rasputin became a wizard. My bad.
Oh yeah.
And when he fought Ralph Fiennes and his son in a big house.
That was weird to learn about.
Instead, her handmaid is actually German. We will talk also to her. Also, I still have to ponder those dogs.
Rich people. Hearse papas.
Goody.
Uh-huh.
Those dog stairs.
What? Jesus Christ.
Macbeth, Shakespearean acting with.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen other Shakespearean actors. They don't randomly yell lines out of nowhere.
Depends
You'll
on the
be
training.
interested in the side gag in Mass Effect with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long story, but essentially it's about the Hamlet performed by a particular alien race who express no emotion in their voice. So,
Another example, Kenneth Branagh, who also plays Poirot as a Shakespearean actor.
Guys, this is a movie, not Broadway. Calm down.
But the audience won't be able to hear me. Seriously, she looks like every... How old is this character at this point?
the character in the universe is supposed to be in her 80s or something, but again, the actress was 60.
That's quite a lot of people in this movie play characters who are like at least 20 to 30 years older than they are.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the important thing for the interview is that the princess was actually connected with the Armstrong, but she doesn't seem to have much of a memory, unfortunately.
She seems pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah,
The
that's
German
German.
Hildegard Schmidt is played actually by the Welsh Rachel Roberts.
Huh.
It was actually not too long before her passing away, unfortunately.
Someone needs to clean the camera lens.
Everybody says that.
What, clean the camera lens? Yeah.
No, the fact that no, old people don't need nurses to help them.
Oh, has he now?
That's
God, that dog's face. Is it okay?
I'm not even sure if they actually rationalize.
I just saw it move its... Yeah, I was going to say, is it even alive? But I saw it move its tongue. So.
That is a mixed breed if ever I've seen it, and I don't know what.
Maybe part Pekingese?
God, that run.
Yeah, I'll get it. It's my stuff. Jesus.
He was trying to be a gentleman, I guess, or just nosy, or both.
What?
Well, look at that. A conductor's outfit. Which anyone could...
Okay, I'll admit it, I'm secretly a conductor.
But yeah, you may notice something seems wrong because it feels like every other contradiction in one witness's testimony seems to be kind of, well, you know, pointing the finger at someone else constantly.
And there's the fact that more and more people are popping up that casually seem to be in some sort of relation with the Armstrong family.
Which
What a coinky-dink.
Which makes it tougher to find out who could be the actual killer. Or does it? Uh-oh.
It is also evidence, but you don't need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
One tactic that you see Poirot has been using also with previous other testimonies is to the classic good cop appear very friendly so you can lure very potential sense of insecurity.
Mm-hmm. Get their defenses down.
Mm-hmm. Price Phoenix doesn't do that more often.
He does that every now and then, but, you know, there are some people...
He's narking.
Yeah.
What was that about animal crackers and soup?
No idea.
Ho, comedy bits.
Thank you.
You can tell because of the music.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's lost it.
And he's laughing.
I mean, we're 2/3 in. We need to start getting somewhere.
Oh, we really are.
Here it is. The case I was looking for. Okay, so there was an Ace Attorney Joypolis case called Turnabout Fly High, which takes place on a plane, apparently.
Now it's Sean Connery's time, finally.
Maybe the plane when they were heading to London.
You know, I never get why Ace Attorney has these cases exclusive to Joypolis. Some of them actually do look pretty cool, too.
Oh, thank God! This is the first time in 2 minutes people haven't called me James Bond.
But yeah, Sean Connery's character is of the military.
I wonder how refreshing it must be to get to use his own accent instead of having to put on that posh British one.
Well, English specifically, but
Yeah. The posh
well, that's
English
funny.
one.
We got an ex-James Bond talking to a guy who would be in a James Bond movie 39 years from that point.
Yeah.
Is it 39? This is 1974, so... "38 years. Sorry, I got my years wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, Shiroi, what's the difference?
Okay.
I guess one is more polite for him. Like I don't.
See, here's the thing, Mister.
He's being nitpicky, I think.
Yeah, I understand that the term "lady" is more polite and all that shit, Paul. I understand that. That being said, that doesn't change the fact that she's still a woman. it's still the word woman still fits her description.
I wonder if like back in the 30s it was considered indignant to refer to a woman as a woman instead of a lady if she was of certain standing.
You see, Liz is not a man; he's a gentleman.
Exactly. I'm gentle.
That
I've seen you play video games. No, you're not.
Your red section playthrough would say otherwise.
Yeah.
No. I'm still a gentleman. I just kill people.
But yeah, here's another coincidence. Colonel Abernaut, for obviously because being in the military, knew about Colonel Armstrong himself.
But Wibbs, I was under the impression that a true gentleman cares for other people.
A true
Kill them
gentleman.
with kindness.
They're a liar.
To be fair, a true gentleman apparently also makes machine guns out of lottery pieces, which probably could kill
Which
some
was
people.
cool.
Yeah, but that was in self-defense though.
I like how the tables have turned from the Scot being the loud and brash one to now Poirot being the
Belgian.
one yelling at him.
I mean, he has
Oh.
been yelling every so often.
That said, trial by
Every so
12.
often.
Oh, this line. What's when that's gonna happen?
Wow.
Well, this is 1930.
Yeah. Again,
Yep.
it's more of a case of the movie plays up a bit with its history time. The 2017 movie also did that.
Oh my god, you know, how much you want to bet a sequel to Order 1886 probably would have shot right ahead to around the time this movie would be going?
Oh yeah, just realized something else. In terms of the cast of this movie,
Mhm.
both Sean Connery and Anthony Perkins have been in an Alfred Hitchcock film at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Perkins with obviously Psycho. Can't remember which one Connery was in though.
I don't remember either. No.
No, piss off. You're not James Bond anymore.
He's Dovenham. He's played by Vanessa Redgrave. Still alive,
Vanessa
actually.
Okay,
the movie. But she's still alive.
Okay, the movie Sean Connery was in from Alfred Hitchcock was one called Marnie, where he apparently
Okay.
co-starred with Tippi Hedren from Birds.
Vanessa Redgrave apparently was also played the Queen character in Cars 2.
How nice for her.
Considering her career, she's still doing stuff to this very day, so you can't have an extensive career without one or two thinkers.
Mm-hmm. Ah, so she's the royalty that time, then.
Also, she was in the first Mission Impossible movie. Interesting.
What the fuck is he doing?
Oh boy.
Jesus.
Mm. Oh, this ought to be good. The
I'll
jigsaw.
totally keep it confidential.
Absolutely. Swear me, man. Tough.
She made
And
it
then,
blatant. She made it blatant, didn't she?
and then when
Probably.
and then when Poirot comes up, before he starts running down his the evidence and everything, he just blurts out everything. So, Mr. Poirot, what are your findings of the case? Sean Connery was cucked. Sorry, I meant to be shit.
Aww, they're gonna get married. That's nice.
But they need to wait until things are properly in place, because otherwise it will cause a scandal.
Cause
Oh.
British honor and all that.
It'd be funny if that were like the first thing he said. He just to spite Sean Connery's character.
Those bedroom eyes.
I don't want to be involved in this.
This was awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to imagine that he specifically got on her case like that just because he knew that Connery's character would burst in there and that would get an answer.
You punched me in the face, sir.
And it's time for Foscarelli.
Oh ho.
I remember that day.
Thanks for the
Just answer the question.
wait. An Italian American car salesman.
That's not stereotypical at all.
Nope.
Didn't know that was a stereotype even back in the 70s,
True.
let alone the 30s. Oh, the mafia.
Tommy gun. Knife jump scare.
Oh.
I
You're
mean,
a
to me,
weird
as a
lady.
kid, that scene alone, like, came the fuck out of nowhere for me.
Did that give you
Again,
nightmares?
the score does help. The score helps actually contributing, giving, despite the more playful nature of Poirot and the interrogatory, of the fact that the murder was brutal. It's connected to an even more brutal story, and this whole affair is very disturbing.
So she apparently found this in her makeup bag, which would mean someone's trying to pin it on her.
What with that dagger?
Well, keep in mind, though, if she was actually the murderer, why would she plant evidence that implicates her in her own bag?
Both two different separate times, nonetheless.
Hmm.
To throw suspicion onto someone else?
Gotta say, this is one of the most confusing games of Among Us.
That'll be
Nah, this,
But yeah, it seems Poirot has reached this conclusion naturally already.
it's
hell,
clearly not, because this movie is lacking in sleuths.
We still are missing one person at the very least.
If this were an Ace Attorney investigations case, I think it would leave Miles Edgeworth a bit stumped.
Mm-hmm. Will it now?
Especially because apparently Poirot already knows the solution, so the question is, what's the point?
Reinforcing it, I guess.
This guy is played by Colin Blakely. He starred in the 70s Sherlock Holmes movie as Watson. And yes, in reality, he's a Pinkerton agent. Is it still active, Jova?
I think the Pinkerton agency may have gotten folded into the FBI. Let me check.
But just with a bit of a switcheroo with the photos. The maid.
You knew her.
What does that mean? Well, that's what we need to know in what is the staple of the murder mystery, the revelation scene.
And the breakdown.
Yes. It was actually Don Paolo. It's kind of ironic. For all these mischiefs and crimes, Don Paolo, I don't think, has ever actually killed someone.
Well, that's the thing, that Theo. The thing about the whole thing with Don Paulo's twist in Lost Future is that he's not actually like super evil. Like it's more so that he just hates Leighton and wants to get back at him. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah, he is petty, and he could probably go into theater. Would be a much better career for him.
Anyway, it's more Descalais, who's a proper villain compared to Don
To answer your question, Tio, the Pinkerton Detective Agency is still a thing to this day.
Okay. Shiro, if you don't know much about the story, any last minute prediction on who could have been?
No.
Okay.
Oh my god, was the game Clue based off of this? It's even got all the different murder weapons. Well, not all of them, but, you know,
It's based also on typical murder mystery cliches. The movie pokes fun at that, too.
Interesting how it took to the ITV series till 2010 to do Murder on the Orient Express.
I guess they wanted to save it for a special occasion.
Are they going like in book order? Like
no. If I recall correctly, no, they just did whatever they wanted. So yeah, the simple answer is that a mafia guy we don't even know used the conductor's uniform and then dissipated thanks to the snow. But food for thought.
He likes dragging things out.
Yeah, Poirot believes her memory is intact and she deliberately omitted.
Well, actually, the British Batman is... Oh, wait, never mind. No joke, there actually is a British Batman. Thanks, Grant Morrison.
I believe it.
Well, Grant Morrison's British, isn't he?
Yeah.
So what was his name in that one? Benjamin Wine.
Oh, no. Basically, as a Batman Incorporated, there's essentially a Batman for each region or country. Ah.
Is this all? Okay, well, I was going to say it was all this done in one take, but then there's all this cutting in it. Unless it was film multi-camera, I don't know.
It is to be noted that, again, Sidney Lumiere manages to work out with little space where they had to work with.
See, unlike The Wiz, this is Sidney Lumet playing to his strengths as a director.
Well, which is funny, Jova, considering I just said earlier, he was mainly making crime dramas in New York, and this isn't one of those.
Well, it's a crime drama still, though.
It's just in a fancy train in... Oh, not in New York.
But yeah, another connection. So she did not marry someone from Turkey, someone from Hungary instead. Michael York in this role reminds me of an actual older Michael Cera with the mustache.
Wow.
If you can even call that a mustache.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the tissue is actually from the princess.
Mm-mm.
And they just happen to book you all on this train.
Can you confirm that, Waves?
Right.
Oh,
Shiroi?
Solicitor is a bit more common.
okay.
Well, well, well. $12. There's that number again. And how many suspects do we have? Mm-hmm.
Only on a technicality since you're excluded.
Yeah.
Does he really regret that, I wonder, though?
Knowing
who Ratchet actually was.
So yeah, the last guy was originally just a normal cop. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, this is awkward.
Very.
What have I just missed?
More people are getting connected to the Armstrong, and it's appear more and more that almost everyone is gaslit, try to gaslit Poirot. Yeah, the kimono was pretty much a red herring through and through. It's not even important who was under that vest.
It's almost like somebody was trying to put together a mystery for Poirot.
Also, we picked an interesting time to do this commentary since the next Agatha Christie film's coming out in September of 2023.
Wait, really? The last one just came out last year, though.
Yep.
How do they have this one already so quickly?
Well, Definitely Now was made back years before, but yeah, pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had more, Searchlight had more, time and pace this time around.
Which is interesting because Death on the Nile wasn't that big a financial success.
I think it was a contract thing that Disney could not, destroy. But yeah, another connection.
Snowball fight?
Yeah, just go outside.
It's funny, the 2017 movie kind of does that.
Really? Oh. Uh-huh.
Sorry, I've been talking for a while.
Basically.
Hasn't a lot of this kind of just been done in one continuous shot?
No, not really. You can see different camera angles.
Although
and
the
considering
long
how small
continu-
this set is, no way you could do multi-camera.
Because I've been dealing with you fuckers for the last couple of days.
You all kept waking me up.
Yeah, that was on purpose, apparently.
It was to make essentially a mystery out of the mundane.
There you go. Mr. Battle was the one who dragged the Valerian. Actually, no, it was Mr. McQueen.
I am so looking forward to getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
No, don't drink it. No.
Chug, chug, chug.
Getting some mixed messages here.
It's a good. Actually, no, if this were the recent Hitman games, like practically as soon as the poison substance touches your mouth, you just keel over and die.
I love
it really
this.
Depends.
They plan
Cyanide does that.
They planned that
this
he
is
would
not,
read the message right as he would be drifting in and out of consciousness.
Because this wasn't poison, was it? This was just
It was
a sleeping
poison,
agent.
but just for making sure that he will never wake up. As he was being stabbed.
So that was like the knockout juice, essentially.
Then they purposely put the timestamp on the clock, so it will give a convenient, time of death.
The time of death. Now. Stab.
Yeah.
Plot twist. They did all this elaborate plan that involves the killing of this man just to fuck with Poirot's sleeping schedule.
That's what was killed in the end, his sleep.
What a very elaborate prank.
I know, right?
You could have just walked around with pots and pans. That would have been much more, straightforward.
We are eloquent folk, and we do things eloquently, even if it involves murder.
So yeah, then the note got burned.
So when you think about it, it was more or less a little theme park case that everybody set up for Poirot to solve.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, not solve.
They just decided to wait a bit.
And keep in mind, he was roommates with Hector.
Well, no, by this point, Poirot just got his own cabin.
No. My point is, he shared a cabin with Hector for a time, so this is how they knew that a world-famous detective was on the train, so that they had to do things a little more specially. So basically,
again, they were also counting on the Yugoslavian police to not knowing what to do and just dismiss it.
The problem was when Poirot came aboard, in which case, that's when they had to take that extra step, essentially.
But after that, like a kid waiting their parents to sleep so he can steal, food from the kitchen.
Everybody finally shut up.
So the murder had not actually occurred yet. Until
and now we get basically... Okay, it's not continuously one shot, but there's a camera fixed exactly where actually it's supposed to be, just to give you an idea what they did, and decided to do this with the emergency blue light because it's cool.
Looks very medically.
So what, did they all get in a line, take it in
Yes,
turns,
sir.
a pound to go?
Yes, sir.
Single file now.
Oh, they were in a queue.
Everyone was on it.
We get to stab somebody a pound ago.
Which also explains the difference in intensity. As you will see, some people got more dedicated, others not so much, and others were too frail to do it.
Yeah, she really went for it.
The music also emphasizes each stab. Yeah, for example, Ingeborg's character instead was a bit more of a scratch.
They did it together.
Mm-hmm. He really loves her that much.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like she was pretty reluctant to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
He literally forced her hand.
Coward. Classy.
Wow.
All of these. Jesus.
Okay, so how do we like explain that? Are you all sharing a cell?
Yeah, Princess Dragomirov also was not particularly strong, so...
I mean, is she like the oldest on board, I think?
He lived the big dream of killing his dickish boss.
So yeah, the battler did do it, and quite sadistically too.
Yeah, he enjoyed that. My god.
See, now, they would have probably have gotten away with it if they had all stabbed in the same place, but good luck doing that in the dark, even with a light.
Well, that explains the 12 stab wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Trial by 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may rest.
In pieces.
I mean,
you've been stabbed so many times, I'm surprised you're not in pieces.
Rotten Swiss cheese.
If he...
Caesar got 23.
Although keep in mind the guy
only 12.
Although keep in mind the guy's eyes were open when they found him, so shoot, maybe he did wake up only to pass away from blood
He was
loss.
probably a paralyzing agent, if I had to guess.
So that would mean...
Although that probably still means there's a chance that he knew this was happening to him.
Potentially.
Wow,
yes.
That would just twist the knife more, so to speak.
Here's the other big difference. In the book, Poirot, after explaining this, believe it or not, recognizes the situation in the sort of sportsmanship, basically, decides for himself to not denounce these people. In here, instead, he actually throws the other in the air and asks Bianchi to decide which solution to apply. The 2017 movie does something else entirely, but
let me guess.
To that at some point.
Let me guess. Denounces them all, big fight scene, arrests them all in the end.
All in due time, Jova.
Alright.
Well, this is a Disney movie now, so if you want to know, maybe Sora arrives and arrests everyone himself.
Right, you're all under arrest and you'll have to be in the same prison cell. But this only fits like 2 people and there's like 11 of us.
And Maleficent walks in the room.
So
not my problem.
What is Bianchi's decision?
You're all sentenced to death.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, for a murder mystery like this, they get away with it.
it only really
And again,
works.
the book ended, believe it or not, even in a more joyous kind of tone, because it is the ultimate question of this story. Compared to a lot of other murder mysteries, this murder felt as it was actually a revenge against someone who ordered such a brutal hit that destroyed an entire family, including the people who were living with them together. So that's the question: was it justified for a brutal murder like this to be paid in kind or not?
Keep in mind,
what Poirot's doubt tends to go to.
Keep in mind also that the victim was getting scot-free away with his own crime.
Yeah.
So
remember, in the book also it's important that he actually got away with a technicality again, like Freddy Krueger. So it's kind of like that. The people who survived instead wanted their personal revenge. So yeah, let's celebrate.
Yay!
People always have like their own interpretations about what's the right thing to do here.
So I'm curious,
Considering, oh, go on.
I was curious, how do you guys feel about the fact that technically these people do get off with it, but again, given who the victim was and what he did, like, what's your stance on it?
On one hand, it's rough because, again, ideally you should let the law ideally do their job, because if you start putting yourself in this kind of manner, but we might as well forego society as we know it and evolve into chaos. But it is worth noting, again, the desperation of the situation it was for these people and the tragedy that they had subsided, which would have fueled such a lust for revenge, as Skullface will say. So part of me understands, but I guess I would have done with less theatricality, maybe.
Again, I don't know. This seems pretty somber, if I'm to be honest.
Well, Tia says that it's more so in the book that apparently it's more joyous.
Yeah, the book is actually more.
Oh, okay. I never read any of the books, so I'm just going by
is basically doing
screen adaptations.
Poirot is basically doing a Pilatus kind of thing and washing his hand away of the thing and say, well, I did my job, you guys decide.
So how's it more...
and Bianchi ultimately decided to not do it, so it's more his decision in this version.
So how's it more joyous in the book, I wonder?
Because, again, Poirot kind of understands their motivation of revenge and the fact that... they kind of outsmarted him a bit before he started, so he decided to just not care anymore about the case and deem that the Yugoslavian police will have to do it. Which, again, it's running on the idea that they will not be able to formulate their proper conclusion. And yeah, it just ends like this.
And then the train crashed.
As Pedro said in the Willy Wonka commentary, a lot of movies around this time just stop at this point, basically.
Yeah, the plot's done. We don't need to do anything else.
Can go home now.
Here's a leave.
Go home. Seriously, go home. Do you even have a babysitter for your kids? and if you brought your kids along with you, why?
Why did you do that?
Yeah, why? They're scarred for life now, and it's all your fault.
But yeah, final thoughts, I suppose.
Okay. Basically, to me, I'm still not a big fan of Albert Finney in the role of Poirot. To be honest, I don't know if it's the accents or what, but I swear he yells like 80% of his lines, and I'm like, dude, you're in a very cramped train. I think people in like the fifth carriage from you can hear you.
I always imagine
it's a loud train.
But seriously, the train was,
times, yeah.
but it was stopped for like 80% of the movie.
My guess is like, well, he raises his voice when he's trying to get a rise out of a witness, essentially.
I can understand where Drips is coming from, because sometimes he may sound a bit over the top. The Italian dub subsides him actually a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, okay, aside from yelling all his lines, he's not like a bad actor or anything, or is he giving that bad a performance? It's just, well, he's yelling a lot, and at times I think the yelling's a bit unnecessary. But the rest of the cast I thought were pretty solid. Well, I mean, it's an ensemble. These songs are ensemble pieces. They basically have you basically hire a big star, and then everyone else follows in along with you.
Mm-hmm.
For being in such a cramped space, they managed to film it pretty well. This is the second Sidney Lumet film I recall seeing. The other one being The Wiz. I honestly keep forgetting I keep forgetting he made that movie.
It was definitely not to his strengths.
Yeah, which is funny since this film's also not exactly his usual forte.
At the very least, it works with more enclosed bouts and a mystery of sorts, which, again, is closer to his wheelhouse than African-American musical.
Ah, no, The Wiz is still somewhat of a mystery to me.
Okay, that one was good.
The music, okay, honestly, there wasn't that much music in the movie. There's like the beginning, some bits in the middle, and then this ending piece.
Of Orient Express.
And then there's that ending piece. I mean, other than that, it was fine from what little there was. And the mystery itself, okay, I do wish my copy had subtitles, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I could still get what was generally going on. I can't compare it. Okay, like I said earlier, I haven't seen any of the David Suchet episodes or any of the Peter Ustinov films. I have seen the Kenneth Branagh ones.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I mean, I'll give it to Branagh. At least he doesn't yell all his lines.
Again, definitely goes over the top sometimes.
I mean, then again, he is directing himself, so yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's a solid mystery. Even though there are other versions, version at this bit of the character of the actor playing the guy, I do prefer more. Although it's kind of interesting to see this one of the very few adaptations that were made during the lifetime of the author.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the irony that the last Batman media that Bob Kane saw before dying was Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did he? No, he probably didn't like. If he liked it, I guess good for him.
It's also worth noting remembering what Bob Kane did to Bill Finger, but
Was it like that for I don't know. I'm not sure if the Superman creators had died by that point, but was it the same for Superman 4?
I don't know.
I do not know either.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Perhaps when we eventually do a commentary of that, we'll have the answers.
Yeah, Murder on the Orient Express. Solid film. I just wish the guy didn't yell at all the time.
Pedro.
Yeah, this is a classic. I mean, there's not much to say. The characters are all interesting and fun. Again, Agatha Christie. You can go wrong with Agatha Christie. So it's a really cool mystery. Hercule is, of course, the classic protagonist. And for me, the biggest thing is the incredible cast of actors they managed to get for this movie. Like Lauren Bacall in particular, since I'm particularly very fond of her because I watched a lot of her older movies from back in the day. Because for those who don't know, she was the wife of Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
So
like
yeah,
said, similar to Greta Garbo, one of the big names of Hollywood.
Yeah. She was also even in my favorite Hayao Miyazaki movie, Howl's Moving Castle. So yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, it's just like there's not that much to say about this movie. It's just an overall stellar mystery movie made, which is not surprising because it's working off stellar source material that is just a timeless classic. So you just can't go wrong with it. It's just overall really solid, and I have absolutely no issues with this thing.
Yeah, no, I liked this movie back then, and I still like it now. It, to my knowledge, adapts the source material very well. it's able to be entertaining despite essentially being, for the most part, a bottle episode. I do wonder the morality in the end, but, perhaps it is something that really...
I think Agatha Christie envisioned this also as, the viewers has to make a conclusion of their own, which is a bit of, it's a bit atypical for these kind of stories. Sure, even when she put in some ambiguity, like, for example, Death on the Nile tends to have that, there's still a sort of, idea behind, the fact that it was still a murder, and people need to be properly punished for it, for their crimes. Again, this feels a bit of an anomaly. Maybe it's because of that it's more beloved and remembered.
It definitely is up to the viewer to decide, and this is one of those cases where, you know what, I can support that. I'll admit, sometimes I do feel like, leave it up to the viewer to find out. Sometimes amounts to a cop-out. Again, it's a very specific bout. This is not one of them, for what I would say. Again, the cast is an all-star cast, and all very well performed. The music is a bit minuscule. I do feel like sometimes the pacing does feel like it slows its roll or speeds up at times, but again, nothing too egregious. This is a perfectly fine and pretty good movie. Which concludes my thoughts. Tio.
Alright, I'll go next. Again, I enjoyed it just as much as I did any previous time when I watched it. Like I said, the combination of the cinematography done despite the strictly locale, the music which helps giving the haunting nature of the entire affair, I have to say that maybe it's probably nostalgia talking, but I prefer a bit more the dub than my country gave. I don't think the acting is anything wrong with it, especially, maybe Poirot yells, but I can understand what they were going for. The character does legitimately kind of goes also for a bit of stress because, again, rather than normally solving, in a traditional marriage investigation, he's doing it in a limited number of time with all the people, lying very bluntly to his face and giving contradicting information. I think it's a case kind of like what Phoenix would do in a situation like that. It will snap. Although, like I mentioned, Poirot is kind of a person of class, as stated. And again, the perfect moral ambiguity, as we mentioned, about this brutal murder happening to a brutal murderer. Again, this movie tends to slightly mitigate a bit Ratchet by having him just fleeing the country and being just the mandate. While in the book it was a bit more active and more involved, which again helped establishing more as a monster. And rather than a tragic victim.
I honestly thought that the movie kind of hinted that he was the one behind all the atrocities.
Well, he technically was. As Poirot said, the proper physical kidnapper and murderer was found, sentenced, and properly killed by the justice system. But he was just, the one who got sent by Cassetti, So, yeah, again, it was more of a case, kind of like in a mafia hit, where you sent the hitman, but, it's the one who sent it that also needs to be properly processed because he's the brain of the operation. Anyway, again, I still don't mind the acting in this, like I said, and it's very interesting to see all these different personalities and cast united in such a, interesting project, which has apparently worked out for the best with everyone involved, so that's nice.
Apparently the 2017 film also followed that degree, because from what I've seen, that one also has an all-star cast.
A lot of interesting cast. Again, I mentioned also just to give an example, Joe, we get William Dafoe, and the way that he's introduced, we only see very briefly, but we get introduced to him with this interrogation scene, and we get his face shattered through the lens of a prism.
Of course.
Doing one of his weird facial expressions. That should tell anything.
Beautiful.
Again, it's interesting to give it a look, even if it does things a bit differently. But anyway, I still enjoy this. I guess I would could easily say that it's my favorite version of the story. I don't think all the others are completely bad. It's just that the bar is set, high enough that I think this one stands out over the others, and that's it. Amazing. But yeah, cool one. Shirei.
No, great movie. Very enjoyable. And yeah, it's a classic for a reason. I guess the only unique thing I can add is just perspective on the whole ending.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it's more that like they probably felt like this guy was just getting away with everything because he was fleeing technically. They probably thought the system wasn't doing its job, so they took matters into their own hands, which, is a bit iffy. But I suppose their punishment really is like these people are already hurt, and the punishment is like, can you live with that for the rest of your life? Which I think some in the cast are more capable of doing than others.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I do like the ambiguity when you're dealing with this many quote unquote culprits, is where each of them are going to end up individually. So no, I do like that. I think that's all I have to add, really. Just a great movie.
As for instead, this, we may see you again for either the 2017 version, the one with Harper Molina that Jova mentioned, who knows, or the Peter Ustinov Death in the Niles. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.